This microphone can see into your soul. Where did you get this from? Satan himself? Good Lord.
I mean, we just had to sacrifice a virgin to pay for it. I mean, seems on the up and up.
It knows my thoughts.
It's in my head. Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another Real Comic Heroes podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Patrick.
And we are excited to bring you our review of Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Woohoo. That's all I got. Spoiler.
Yeah, so the sequel to a really awesome movie. Don't even know where to go from there.
Yeah, quick synopsis.
Oh shit, I didn't even copy that one down.
No need, I can make it up on the fly. They take the end of the last movie, start this movie that way, then basically follow a formula that they followed in the previous one, but just quicker, and then ended up with some freaky humans and blank screen of death.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
That's kind of fair. I mean,
it's essentially a sped up version of the original.
See, I don't know. I think this one's more just a search and rescue movie with,
because it went crash, finds a human, gets to Ape City, gets captured, escapes Ape City. Then it goes to the creepy humans, and that's pretty much the first movie, except for the human part.
Yeah. Okay, I do have the actual, probably the IMDb synopsis.
Oh, let me guess. You're welcome.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
No, it says the sole survivor of an interplanetary rescue mission searches for the only survivor of the previous expedition. He discovers a planet ruled by apes and an underground city run by telepathic humans. So
basically what I just said.
Basically what you just said.
Telepathic humans. Yeah.
If you can't tell,
Huge
I was
fans.
really excited about the Ape series just because of rewatching the first one and kind of reliving my childhood love of that movie, and in my head the whole franchise as a whole. And once I started watching this one, it was like I have no memory of the first part of this movie.
What are you talking about? You just watched it. The first part of the movie is the last part of the first movie.
But I don't remember a crash, the crashed, rocket. I don't remember Brent, meeting up with Nova, and I basically from my childhood only remembered once they got to the underground city.
Because it's essentially the same movie until then.
You might be right about that. Maybe that's why it didn't stick out. But in thinking about it, I probably only ever watched this movie once.
Okay.
And that was probably when I was 12, 13, whatever. So
about 40 years ago.
Yeah, about 41. But this doesn't diminish my love for the entire Ape franchise, I hope. Because in thinking about it, I haven't seen the other sequels as well, since the first time I watched them. So it will be interesting as we go forward with these other movies and seeing what I remember, seeing how they hold up,
I want to see if they go, just kidding, we still got a planet, or if it's prequels. I'm not sure. I've never seen them, so.
The next one I remember really liking. And actually I remember liking the third and fourth one really well. Almost as much as I think as the first one. I know I remembered specifically the second one not being my favorite as a kid. So I'm not surprised that I didn't really care for it this time around.
Yeah.
The fifth one I have no recollection of seeing. So that'll be interesting once we get to that one. But we're here to watch. We're here to review the second one. So, do you want to just get into it?
Sure.
All right.
It basically starts with footage from the last movie, which I thought was weird because it was like last time on Planet of the Apes, and then it just shoots in the same footage. Like,
I mean,
it was weird.
I'm okay with it because I've seen it done in. I mean, I think even Back to the Future, didn't they do it? The second one starts off with them like trying to.
Well, a little bit,
Yeah,
so but for like a few minutes, this was like at least 4
it really
minutes,
only went
minutes.
on for it was like 5 minutes, I think. You start off with Taylor and Cornelius. Cornelius is reading the the prophecy or whatever. Kind of reading that again,
reiterating that man sucks and he's going to destroy the world.
Yeah. So, but basically, once Taylor heads off with Nova on the horse, they kind of re-show the Statue of Liberty scene again. It's interesting they trimmed out the goddamn line because I apparently that didn't go over so well with critics from the first movie. So you get to see that little moment again, and then basically from there it just takes they take off on horseback. And is that when it switches to Brent?
Yeah.
So we start off with there's another rocket crash, and when I first saw it, I thought it was Taylor's rocket that the lake had like dried up basically.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
until Brent pops out of the cockpit and
it just seems so much smaller.
The rocket?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not remembering the first one that well because
it
was
really,
halfway in the water.
Yeah, you really only saw the tip of it sticking out of the water.
But I felt like they were climbing through it, like and it was a lot bigger. But was it just him and the skipper?
I think so, unless there were.
I was trying to see if I could find more mounds, but
no, unless there were other bodies inside the rocket. But I didn't get the impression that there was anyone else with him because I think when he meets up with Taylor later, he says, I don't even know if he told him that he was with Maddox was the skipper's name.
Yeah. Waste of a character.
Yeah, but I actually really like their little scene together because somehow the skipper went blind in the crash, and Brent is explaining to him, we're on a planet, it's got water, fresh water,
air,
plenty of air. Yeah, they're as far as like surviving, they're in pretty good shape, and the skipper is just laying there, and he comes to grips with the. They kind of do the scene where Brent says what year it is,
and 39:55, and
39:55, and when the skipper realizes that his whole family and everyone he knew is dead, I think they really sell it a little bit better than the previous.
Yeah, I mean, but I felt like the first three guys, and I don't know about the girl because she was already gone, but I felt like they didn't really have much they cared about back at home, which is why I was weird this guy did and he still went. Like, I didn't quite understand that.
Because I think this was a rescue mission from the start. Like their whole point was to try and they were hoping to find Taylor and the rest of the crew. So I didn't get the sense that these guys were they're from the same time period as Taylor, but I didn't get the sense that they were as dejected and sick of their present society as he was.
I just didn't quite get the whole idea of it being a rescue mission because the original mission was to go out and explore, and nobody was expecting them to come back, I thought, because they were going so far.
Yeah.
Like, they knew going into it they'd be thousands of years, to Earth time.
See, but so
I don't quite understand how they knew they needed to rescue them, I think.
See, I don't think the point of the mission was to never come back. Based on...
Yeah, but they wouldn't have come back in anyone's lifetime.
But right? I don't think they expected to travel through time. Like, I don't think that was part of the mission to go... I mean, obviously they went into a sleep hibernation.
Yeah.
So that was a plan. But I think... I don't know, maybe...
Because he never seemed surprised by how much time went by.
Yeah.
Like in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Yeah, I guess I expected...
I just didn't understand how they knew he was in trouble if everyone was pretty much dead by the time he even went into stasis.
Yeah.
Movie flaw!
Moving on.
Yeah, I don't
My
know.
brain hurts.
I'm sure there's bigger ape nerds that know the nuances
Yeah.
of this universe, but from a layman's perspective, I just don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just like, how do they? Because they really sell that, at the beginning of the first one that,
Yeah.
time has flown by because of
Yeah.
the speed they're going and all this and the distance. And
That's true.
I'm like, by the time he gets to sleep in the first one, everyone else should be dead from
Yeah.
the.
And remember in the opening monologue of the first movie, he even said,
Yeah.
whoever's hearing this, it's already dead or whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it was still in the moment with Skipper and Brent, and like it's basically Skipper's on his deathbed. Essentially, he's just saying, "All my family is dead" and everything, and he's kind of like tearing up and and dies right away. So
Yeah.
but for me, it was a really good.
Oh
scene.
yeah, I believed him. I mean, he did a good job with what time he had, but I don't know, just threw me.
Sure. I thought it was weird to cast Brent, who just looks almost identical to Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously just like a younger version.
Yeah.
Less creepy.
I read in the, I think on either IMDb or Wikipedia that Burt Reynolds was considered for the role of Brent. So I really just want to see that movie.
You're like, yeah, apes. All right, let's. This is weird.
Let's get in his truck.
Let's go. He's always got to be chewing gum or something.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I found a gum plant over there. And Nova, you look pretty hot. Let's hop in my Firebird. Yeah.
Got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
Yeah. Oh man, all in the quest to get Coors Light across state lines.
That's right.
Now that's a movie.
Burt Reynolds could have set up a nice moonshining, little
moonshine runs.
schemes and plans, and could have been bringing apes. I don't know if they have any alcohol, but Burt Reynolds would have.
That head ape of the guard could have been the bumbling sheriff.
Oh my god!
This movie could have been so much better.
Let's remake it.
That would be awesome.
All right, so we're at the crash scene. Brent has buried Skipper. Nova rides up on a horse.
Little buddy. Gilligan's Island.
Oh yeah. You see
For our
kids.
younger viewers.
You see kids.
Back when we were kids, there weren't that many channels. We had to watch crappy old television that also didn't have many channels.
Those poor people. So Nova rides up. Brent, approaches her, sees that she has dog tags that match his, and is questioning if she knows anything about Taylor. And as soon as he mentions Taylor, she starts having flashbacks of basically picking up where they left off from leaving the Statue of Liberty and moving forward.
We get to the Taylor trying to teach her to say his name.
Yeah,
or her name.
really creepy scene of him trying to touch her lips and make her lips move to talk, and just trying to beat it into her head that
Heston just looks creepy in general.
he really did, and it didn't help because when you first see him, the camera was right in his face.
Yeah.
It's really weird to just. I don't need to see Charlton Heston that close up.
No.
It's all teeth and
it's all teeth and receding hairline
Yeah.
and sweaty skin and
yeah.
blah.
I did read that one of the original drafts of the screenplay was the intention was to have Taylor 14 years later from the first movie, and having him essentially leading a resistance of the enslaved humans, essentially.
Oh yeah, I gotcha.
And the movie would have been called Planet of the Men, so it would have been a complete this time it's
So that would
the other how the other half
That sounds like it would have been easily parodied into adult cinema.
Oh yeah
For the certain preference.
yeah but it's it seems like they kind of took that idea and turned that into the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, because you start out with Caesar, and he's leading a revolution or whatever from the
Planet of the Men.
Planet of the Men. So hey, it could have been worse.
Yeah. See, I also try to figure out how much time has passed, because judging from her flashbacks and where she is, it seems like she's on her way from Taylor telling her to get
to go to Zira.
Yeah.
I think they probably traveled from the beach where they left Cornelius and Zira and Dr. Zaius. They probably traveled 3 days, maybe.
So that's the part. I mean, how did Brent already show up? That means he waited 3 days.
I mean, essentially,
I don't understand.
They just missed each other. I get the idea.
That's the weird part. I mean, he did mention something about an S-bend, so maybe that's how they got around that.
And that could very well be that they...
An S-bend in time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a...
Which you can always do with time travel, because
it's a timey-wimey...
Yeah. It's an ever-flowing river of confusion and horrible writing.
It's time. You can do whatever the hell you want with it.
That's right. The times they are changing.
That's right. So we got Nova and Taylor, and in the flashbacks we see them riding off, and they're trying to essentially just cross this desert and somewhere in the Forbidden Zone. And this wall of fire just appears out of nowhere.
I was tripping. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
The visuals are really strange, but given the time it was made, I get it,
Well, not that. I'm fine with that. Okay. It was just, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, because you got...
The earth splits.
Yeah. Then they start taking off, and there's lightning bolts all over them.
Yeah.
And then they basically turn around, and all of that's gone, Yeah. So essentially, you kind of realize they're seeing visions. And then this, I guess, a rock wall appears in front of them, and Taylor decides to go investigate. Tells Nova,
hit it with his gun.
Yeah, he's gonna hit the wall with the butt of his gun, and then just completely disappears into he falls through a fake wall.
Yeah, what the hell was the point of hitting it with his?
I don't know.
Just to see if it was real.
I think I think exactly.
How about
just
a
see if it's
little
real.
less aggressive poke so you don't fall through it, buddy?
Yeah. His momentum just carried him through.
But yeah, that's when he talks to Nova about getting to Zira and
tells her if something happens to him, go find Zira.
And then immediately something happens to him.
Yeah,
so, good thing he told her.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, and so that's when you cut right back to Brent and Nova. He's essentially trying to connect to her on finding Taylor. So he gets on the horse with her. They start riding off. And pretty quickly get to Ape City.
Oh yeah, pep rally going on.
Yeah, which I kind of dig. This
is one of the parts I actually liked.
Yeah, we got General Ursus, who's a big gorilla, head of the gorilla military.
Bizarre headwear.
Yeah, it's this kind of weird,
phallic-y kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Big headdress. But I mean, obviously, it kind of establishes who's in charge.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just giving, a speech, I guess, of just how the apes need to go back into the Forbidden Zone.
Yeah,
because there have been weird things happening, and because they're running low on food.
Yeah, that's the part that I got. I was like, what?
Yeah, that was kind of a weird thing. You think that this movie kind of shows you that this whole ape culture in Ape City, they're not as well off as you would think. The first movie makes you think this is the pinnacle of civilization, and in this one it's they're worried about food for the next season or whatever, and they're close to
that much time has passed.
Right. So apparently they're not that well off.
I never really thought they were, judging by their huts they were living in.
Yeah. And based on what Dr. Zaius and Ursus talk about later, that the big problem is humans are eating their food supply, which we know from the first movie that they raid the cornfields and things like that. So
yeah, there was a section in there where he talks about humans, and the only good human is a dead human.
Yeah,
I was like, oh jeez.
Yeah, it's a little okay,
But it sounded like they were wanting to expand.
Yeah.
So like their manifest destiny or something.
I think because I think they knew that the Forbidden Zone had at one point been, as lush and good as what they were, where they currently live. So I think they want to reclaim it, maybe somehow.
That is not the case, though.
No.
And since the Forbidden Zone is essentially New York, you'd have Central Park, and that's about the only lushness around.
Yeah, but it
was fun to see because it was kind of like seeing the power being taken from Dr. Zaius's group and being more militaristic.
Yeah,
and
we get to see Cornelius and Zira, and she's having none of it. Has no support for the military, and
weren't they supposed to be in jail?
Yeah, I mean, you would have thought at the end of the first movie that they would have instantly been.
But then I was like, she mentioned something about the baby, so I don't know if she's pregnant.
Yeah, she was talking about breastfeeding and things like that.
This child will not. Something I thought she said, but maybe it was just in general, like if they had a kid or something. Yeah,
I think she was talking more broadly about, I don't know, just society in general and how the children who were. I don't know if I'm completely way off on this, but somehow, like, if I get the sense that the ape children who are breastfed by chimps turn out calmer than, but I don't know if that was. Yeah. She weirdly brought up breastfeeding.
Yeah, that's what made me think why she was not in jail is because she was pregnant, but
maybe, but they didn't.
She still had her job, and
I
don't know. It was. I thought they were they were supposed to be in prison for a period of time or something.
Yeah. That is the weird thing about this movie is Taylor and Nova pick up immediately after the previous movie, but then it seems like the apes have there's been
something's
some time,
happened,
like some time.
A military coup has commenced or something.
Kinda, yeah. But in the first movie, Cornelius was talking to Dr. Zaius and explaining that Zira was to be his wife, that they were engaged to be married. In this one, they are married.
Yeah.
So unless they immediately got married, from the time they left the Forbidden Zone a couple days ago, so that's kind of a weird. We're not sure how much time has passed for the apes.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of time because there's already a group of protesters.
Right. Yeah, you get some hippie chimps, apes. That are just sitting with picket signs and stuff. But we don't want to get too far away from the ape assembly because Brent and Nova kind of show up and are witnessing it from, kind of from they're hiding out in the bushes up the hill.
He takes it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting seeing his reaction to, like, what the hell's going on here? And he does sell it well. I really think James Franciscus, who plays Brent, did a pretty good job of,
He was more of a normal actor, whereas Heston's sort of that old school drama queen kind of actor.
I think...
God, apes are talking.
Yeah.
He's not as exaggerated.
Right. He's a little more subtle. Yeah. Let's see.
Sorry, I just like him better than Heston in this.
No, I kind of do too. But
this movie, I should say.
Sure. There's a gorilla that's just kind of scouting. Just kind of happens upon. Doesn't really find them, but he knows someone is in the bushes. So he just kind of takes a wild shot, 2 wild shots, and happens to hit Brent in the arm. Really, just for it's entirely to drive the plot. Move forward. Yeah. Which I kind of thought, like, what if in the bushes had been 2 ape teenagers who were just trying to make out and
ape does not harm ape.
Yeah, buddy. I mean, what if this guy had just shot and killed?
Maybe he smells them.
That could be.
They got a large nasal cavity, so I'm assuming they can sniff out stuff.
That's true. Maybe he did smell humans because he would have known.
And
he's been around humans. They're in cages.
Nova probably stinks to high heaven.
Yeah,
she's
that's true.
Native human.
Okay, so you're right. He would have known that there were humans around.
I imagine there's some weird teenager pheromone that gets kicked in the air for teenagers.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so Brent gets shot, and then it cuts to Ursus and Dr. Zaius naked in a steam room.
Yes, the sauna scene, my favorite.
Which is, it's whatever, it's fine. You know, it's kind of funny, just the idea of seeing these.
Totally took me out of the movie. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Seeing these hulking apes, you know, and essentially seeing them naked, but, you know, fully in fur. Gorilla suits and orangutan suits.
I was just like, okay.
It's kind of funny. But basically, their conversation is about why
I don't
they
even know what it was about.
Oh,
I was
really?
too busy freaking out.
Afraid you're going to see an ape dong. Well, let me fill you in. So Ursus mentions that there have been odd occurrences in the Forbidden Zone, specifically walls of fire, lightning, earthquakes and chasms opening in front of them. So they have also experienced the same things that same visions.
He's lost
same
like a
unexplained.
group of people.
Yeah, they've lost 11 apes, probably gorillas.
He says 12, and
he says 12. Yeah,
he goes 11. Like I didn't understand what the nitpicking was about that. Like that he knew more than.
Yeah, because I think Ursus is kind of coming at Zaius like, you're the scientist. You're the head of science. Why can't you explain this? And so, because, you know, Zaius is kind of under fire here, he's definitely going to correct Ursus when he says, well, it's really been 11 disappearances. So
yeah, it was just funny to see them bickering like an old couple.
It's kind of cool. And especially the first movie, you get the impression that Zaius is like, he's not the president because we met the president, but he's very respected and very like high up in the
he's the keeper
social
of the
ladder
faith or whatever. So,
but in this one you got the general basically talking down to him, saying, you know, why can't you explain what is going on here? You're supposed to know what's going on.
I'm assuming it's because Taylor got away.
Yeah,
that Zaius's rep has taken a hit.
Maybe I don't know.
Like the other soldiers told maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The story of what happened.
Yeah.
Apes be stitches.
That's right. And then they talk a little bit more about the real threat of famine being a real concern. So.
Yeah, what was the line? What's more dangerous than famine?
Yeah.
Like man or something.
Yeah. Any chance they can get to shit on man.
And then is that where we go to the breastfeeding scene with Dr. Zaius coming in?
Well, Brent and Nova have snuck into Ape City.
Right. Yeah.
They've, gotten into Zira and Cornelius' house, and, basically are hiding in a closet. And yes, then...
That's like a sped up version of the previous movie, because... Like, oh, you're just...
Yeah.
She confuses him with Taylor.
Right, yeah. Zira and Cornelius come home.
All humans look alike.
Yeah. And I think that's really funny, because they see Brent and like, Taylor? And it's kind of interesting that to them it would look like... It kind of looks like
He's
Taylor.
Got blonde hair and bright eyes.
And a big beard. And so, yeah, I mean, I get it. And it's just kind of funny, like, you guys all look alike. So.
Yeah.
So what I like is that... they're still just, they can't believe when Brent speaks that, like, that's impossible. I think Cornelius even says, but that's impossible.
Well, it can't be more than one. I mean,
right,
one is a fluke, two is a trend.
Yeah. So they patch up Brent's arm and are kind of interrupted by Dr. Zaius, who comes over to... I don't really know why Dr. Zaius is coming to talk to Cornelius and Zira. Probably because... they had a shared experience of going to the Forbidden Zone, but he basically comes over to tell them that he's leaving. Yeah, he's leaving to go to the Forbidden Zone with Ursus to investigate, and just kind of is telling them like, don't make any more trouble. Just
it's a military world now.
Yeah, just try to keep quiet and don't create a panic.
Essentially, he's talking to Zira.
Exactly. Yes. From the ape assembly earlier, like she refused at first to stand up in support of the gorillas, and so I get now what you were talking about in the first movie about why you didn't really like Cornelius, because he was just very
simpering,
yeah. Because he and at least they stayed true to that character. He's still simpering and very like, don't rock the boat, don't get noticed, don't.
He doesn't seem like a good match for her.
No, because she's very headstrong and he's very meek, But
I guess it's good because it keeps her in line a little bit.
A little bit.
So she's not totally out of control.
Yeah, they help balance each other a little bit. Because he does go along with her.
Yeah.
So she can break him out of his his ways. And he's also able to kind of corral her a little bit. So it's,
But it was just weird that she covered up by saying that he hit her.
Yeah, they've got some bloody towels and stuff from patching up Brent's arm, who is now hiding with Nova in the closet again.
Zeus is like, good.
Yeah. So she's covering up her cheek.
And then it's like a 180 right at the end when Cornelius is like, "You want me to hit her again?"
I know.
It's like, don't worry, I'll hit her again if she speaks up. And then
Zeus is like, "Oh no, that won't be necessary." Yeah.
It's like, pick a side.
It's fine that you hit her once, but you don't need to hit her again. Done told her once.
That part just made me say, what?
Yeah, and I don't know, is that a commentary on the 70s, the domestic abuse in our society? Or is that a comment on, well, in an ape culture, domestic abuse is acceptable as long as it's kept indoors,
Yeah, I don't
So I don't know if that's what the message is there, but there definitely is a message.
Because I thought they were supposed to do no harm to each other.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just don't kill each other.
I think definitely don't kill each other, but I think there's also something to the man should be the head of the household and she should listen to what he has to say. That kind of that 1800s mentality of
1800s.
Well, yeah.
Did you look at the 1950s?
Yeah.
Freaking Leave It to Beaver and all that other stuff. It's very, very similar.
Yeah. Let's see. Where are we? Oh, so Zeus leaves, and Brent and Nova pop back out of hiding and
immediately get captured.
Yeah, I mean, but they kind of continue their discussion with Cornelius and Zira and explain that they're going to try and find Taylor because that's their main concern is still finding Taylor at this point. And Zira and Cornelius are very concerned. I was kind of surprised at how invested they were. Cornelius even says we love Taylor. We love Taylor. He was a fine specimen, that kind of thing. Let's see.
Well, I think there's a forewarning because Cornelius tells Brent, if you do get caught, do not speak. They'll, cut you open, then kill you in that order or something like that.
Yeah, it says they'll...
dissect you?
They'll dissect you and then kill you in that order.
Yeah. And then what happens?
Yeah.
He immediately gets captured.
Yeah, they take off and immediately,
Whoops.
There's a weird scene of Zira is very concerned with him changing clothes, which I don't get. Why not change clothes in the house before leaving?
Yeah.
But they change clothes. He changes clothes in the bushes to get rid of his astronaut, his bright white astronaut uniform.
And Nova's peeping.
Yeah, she gives him the up and down
She got an upgrade.
Yeah, I think she's oh. You're not as flabby around the, not as soft in the middle as Taylor is. So yeah, basically as soon as they leave Ape City, they're already getting chased down.
We get into the question we had in the first movie as to what do they do with the humans?
Yeah.
And apparently they're tackling dummies /
Yeah, they get used for target practice.
Yeah.
I really dig the gorillas have captured them. They take them for, the gorillas use the humans as live practice dummies in their training. A lot of humans on horseback getting taken down by gorillas but with nets or whips or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I thought that scene was really cool. I liked seeing how regimented.
A little montage.
Yeah, it's a cool scene of seeing how regimented and efficient the gorillas are, because you don't get that sense in the first movie or really up until this point, because they're just kind of lumbering and.
Well, yeah, the first movie, I thought it was like a hunting group.
Yeah, they didn't seem like a military,
shot.
Right? So it is nice to see how trained they are. They've got cannons, which I wouldn't have considered, but I guess it makes sense. It's kind of a simple firepower.
That gun that Brent got shot with was weird.
That weird handgun, but it's like
a laser gun at first.
I think the weird part is that it's entirely leather wrapped.
Yeah.
Instead of just the handle of the gun being leather wrapped, they wrapped the entire gun with.
It was like, I was like, what the hell is he?
It was bizarre, but yeah.
Because it was so tiny. And, I don't know. It was weird.
But it was weird seeing in the gorilla training montage. There's a lot of horses that go down. Like they don't shy away from and I'm sure they're essentially stunt horses. They're trained to take a fall, that kind of thing.
Well, it's like
brutal.
The 70s, so there's still a lot of Western shows on.
Right.
I'm guessing. Yeah. So they're like, hey, we got a lot of guys that know how to do this. It looks cool. People like it.
And you got a lot of people in ape costume that are still able to do kind of cool jumps and able to ride horses really well.
So it sort of goes back to the target practice.
Yeah.
Brent and Nova get back to where
essentially they're in
Heston was.
inside Zira's
lab. Prison.
And so she instantly takes notice of them, tries to get them.
She plays it pretty good.
Yeah, she tries to say, "Hey, this one's
type E
cranium is different and very very fine specimen, and and Nova as well, and I need them for my studies." And Ursus comes over and says, "No, they're designated for target practice." So they get loaded up into the wagon, which she doesn't make sense that she would go out following them to getting loaded into the wagon, and why she would take the key.
I know.
I mean, I'm sure that's not standard operating procedure.
They gotta know that she's the cause of the first.
I don't know.
Fiasco.
I don't think they are. I don't get the sense that Zaius let that information out.
Okay.
I
mean, at the very least, she was in that group that let the human get away. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is weird. There's no reason she should get the key from the guard.
So they get loaded into the carriage, and I think that's when as they get taken away, that's when we see the montage of gorilla training, because they're passing by.
Okay, I thought it was on the way.
Training camp.
Okay, yeah. I think I just mixed it up in my head.
But essentially, Brent starts to break out of he gets out of the carriage from the back, climbs up to the front, and then him and the carriage driver have a pretty awesome fight, on top of a moving carriage, and it's
like a train scene, because
very much so. They're fighting on the top of this carriage, and
how does the bad guy go down anytime there's
branch? Yeah. He's branched out.
Branch or a tunnel will take out the bad guy on a train or carriage.
Yeah, but I think it's done pretty well. And there's a lot of wide shots where you get to see. Obviously it's a stunt man. It's not really the actor playing Brent. But they do some pretty cool stunts of the guy, Brent kind of falls off and has to, actually hits the ground, kind of runs to catch up to it. Climbs back on. So there's a lot of really cool little action scenes there in the fight.
Yeah, and then they're getting chased by a group that happen to be close by watching.
Yeah, and another once they get the carriage stopped, they take the horses, they ride off, and immediately get spotted by gorillas again. So there is a lot of captured, escaped, chased, captured, chased. Yeah.
See, I felt like I had no care about what Taylor was doing. I think it would have been nicer if they showed snippets of Taylor's situation, maybe even vague, dark in a cell or something. I just never felt like we were going to save Taylor.
I think at this point I was so wrapped up in the moment and I
kept
kind of the excitement. No, by this point you're kind of completely forgotten about Taylor. And I think that's kind of the point, because they wanted, Charlton Heston essentially wanted to die at the beginning, but then they kind of worked out an agreement to well, how do you bookend the film? You'll pop up, then you'll disappear, and then you'll be in the end of the movie. Yeah. So I think you're kind of meant to forget about Taylor. Like he's essentially he's the goal, but you're not specifically concerned about.
Yeah, it's just weird that
seeing Taylor.
I was expecting it to be more like a rescue movie.
Yeah,
since that's what they were there for, and
it's more of a search and rescue. More emphasis on the search part of it. Yeah.
So we finally get to them
basically
getting beneath the planet.
Yeah, essentially now we're to the underground portion because Brent, Nova, they've found a little hole to hide in that happens to be an underground cave that leads to
a less memorable reveal for this character.
Yeah, but we're not quite there yet. Because I do like as Brent slowly realizes where he is underground, because instantly he sees this tiled wall, which seems weird with the cave. Yeah. Then sees a telephone, and it like slowly starts dawning on him, and he kind of takes a step back and sees this tiled wall that says, Queensboro Plaza, and a poster from New York, and so it's...
Yeah, that was a little overkill.
Yeah, definitely overkill, because how would that survive for
thousands of years.
2,000 years, basically.
That, and I'm pretty sure I've seen a telephone booth look like that now, because, they're ancient and fossil-like. Nobody has a telephone booth.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, and then he puts it together that essentially there's been some kind of atomic destruction and kind of mirrors what Taylor says at the end / beginning of of the movie of did they finally do it? Like it almost, the dialogue is almost the same. It's like they finally really did it. And I like that they don't come out and say those maniacs blew it up, but you can tell that he understands what has happened. So let's see. So they kind of hang around for a few minutes, but then they hear this humming sound, like a very low humming, and start to head down the subway tunnel, kind of deeper and deeper underground.
Now, there's a section, I thought they shoot back to Ape City, and they mentioned it being like a holy war.
Yeah, they're at church, essentially.
It was weird that it jumped to holy war from famine to finding new food to then holy war.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, how many wars are we fighting here? Where's the war on drugs? I was like, okay.
And then you get more of the anti-war chimp hippies as they're like sitting in the kind of the middle of the road trying to block the guerrilla troops as they advance. And it's definitely of the time. It's definitely a message of of protest. But in that time, it totally makes sense.
And I thought the sort of scene was shot really well.
I was just about to say that as chaos. the guerrillas marching to war, it's really impressive. Like just the scope of it, And we can talk about this later, but their budget was really low on this movie. It started out at $5 million, and then they cut it down to like $2.5 to $3 million. And for them to be able to do these huge shots of, easily 500 extras, apes in full costume, and not as detailed costumes and makeup, but just the wide shots showing how many troops there are. It's really well done.
I imagine they got quite a few fans from the first one.
Probably.
And were willing to forego a normal fee.
Could be, yeah.
Because, I mean...
Show up for a day, wear a cheap rubber mask, and dress in identical clothes. And,
just shoot from far enough away. And you can't tell it's cheap.
Yeah. But I think for as low as the budget is, they made it work really well. And there's a lot of scenes even in the ape assembly early on that, the first row of apes they've all got the really good makeup. But then like 2 or 3 rows back, they're wearing pretty cheap, ape costumes. Because the eyes are all hollow and the mouths are all like open and same expression. But it makes sense. You wouldn't have every single ape.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the 5th row is just a guy wearing an ape t-shirt.
Yeah.
It progresses really quickly into just laziness. That's not true, by the way. Don't look for that.
Let's see. So where are we at? So the apes are marching. The gorillas are marching with Ursus and Zaius kind of at the head.
But they dispersed the protesters in a cool way, I thought.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the chaotic scene where they're wrangling them all up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zaius, tells Ursus to kind of remove them quietly. They don't want to create a big scene
martyr
kind of thing. Yeah, they don't want
what he said.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, okay, you can't kill each other, so how are you going to make somebody a martyr other than... I thought martyrs had to be killed, but...
That's what I was wondering. Maybe that's not the case? I just always assumed
I guess you could
martyrs...
be a martyr and be imprisoned.
Yeah, like a political prisoner becomes a martyr.
Mandela or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I associate it more with killing.
I do too.
But the scene was shot well. It's just the sound work wasn't all that great because you could tell it was, done after the fact.
Sure,
and
all
was just
ADR.
like, no war, peace.
Yeah.
But the shooting of it was pretty cool, I thought.
Oh, I agree. Then we cut back to Brent and Nova, who are continuing underground, and then eventually...
the annoying beeps.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of noise, it's pretty annoying.
I hated that so much.
Yeah.
I mean, I got it. It was a way to, get them to come a certain direction.
Right. Yeah, they show up to a ladder that every time they touch the ladder, the humming stops, which is, in a way, it's kind of a cool security system.
Yeah, they just did it too much.
Yeah, I agree.
It was like at least 8 to 10 times they had to play with that ladder.
Yeah. At this point, though, they're starting to find the ruins of New York, which is I'm a fan of. I like seeing they find Radio City Music Hall. It's all destroyed.
The museum,
the Wall Street, or the Stock Exchange.
It was I don't know. It was weird looking.
Yeah. Oh, it was definitely a lot of matte painting. So it,
I was like, okay.
It doesn't look the best,
No.
but it's kind of cool. And again, if you're trying to stretch your budget, essentially it's all just matte paintings and,
I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
The Statue of Liberty it was so much better.
Sure.
I think anything else just pales in comparison.
Yeah. And then they show up to, it's St. Patrick's Cathedral. Because you see the very iconic archway door, on the outside, and then the movie gets really dark,
really quick.
And at this point, I'm like, I don't know what 12-year-old me was if I understood what was going on. It's a dark scene because Brent just starts kind of slowly. You can tell his expression changes, and he starts kind of feeling like he's got the most intense headache you've ever seen, and
he's got bees or wasps in his head.
He's got shoeshine head.
Yeah, but Nora's drinking from a fountain.
Yeah, they find this fountain that they're drinking out of, and I think he even does he say you want me to kill her, or I think he says something like that out loud.
Yeah, there's an inner monologue, and then he's talking to himself.
Yeah, essentially, I mean, not even essentially, just puts his hand on the back of her head and shoves her head under the water of this fountain, and is trying to kill her. What is going on in her head? You know what I mean? And we haven't even talked about Nova that much, but it's got to be insane. Because she goes from her normal life of being rounded up by apes to riding off with Taylor, to coming back, finding another human like Taylor.
Oh, let's not forget she saw firewalls and Taylor fell to a rock.
Yeah.
She gets captured again. She gets away finally again, and then is being drowned by this new guy from space.
Yeah. So, and at this point, I mean, Linda Harrison, who plays Nova, does an amazing job. Because she has to.
It's the one time
can't
she makes
say
noise.
Anything.
It's the first noise I think I heard her make.
Yeah, she does have when she comes up for air. Yeah, she's definitely very
It's the first noise.
Exasperated. Yeah. But just the way she plays it is really, really well done. Just because she's got to roll with all of this stuff, and essentially a lot of the time have a very blank expression. Just because to her she's kind of just an animal, but
it's
she
good that
sells it
Yeah,
that
she doesn't react like as you'd think somebody might, like nod their head.
right.
But she doesn't even do that because she doesn't understand him at all.
Yeah.
So she just follows. She doesn't react at all.
I think it would be easy to assume that she's not a good actor because she's always got a blank stare on her face and always just dull. But I think it's actually
Kevin Smith can do it.
Yeah.
She's the Kevin Smith of the movies.
Move some eyebrows and
Silent Nova.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good name for a superhero.
Silent Nova.
All right, that's copyrighted.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, so kind of Brent is struggling with after he's tried to kill her, and essentially like walks himself into the church. They haven't made it into the church yet, but so he goes inside.
You hear a guy's voice talking about revealing his true self to God.
You see this.
It's a giant golden.
It looks like a bullet.
Yeah,
but it's a big rocket. Yeah, a big bomb. And
you see the Alpha and Omega symbol on the wing.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, is this how Omega Man gets created? Heston,
yeah. It's a weird scene because you got humans, or a human, worshiping at the altar of the bomb. And it's like, at this point, it's kind of easy to forget about the apes.
Yeah, you're like, totally different.
Because now, you're like, what the hell is going on? We've got humans underground, literally beneath the planet of the apes.
That's the part that still confuses me. Like, what the hell happened where the whole of Manhattan has gone underground since it's an island? I didn't quite understand that, but whatever.
I'm thinking
maybe things shifted.
Shifting and earthquake type things, maybe, and maybe just the planet's or Manhattan sunk, maybe. Yeah. And then over time, there was somehow.
It was weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna try and understand how Manhattan is underground.
It should be like Atlantis by now,
right?
It should be mer people. Ooh.
Nice. Planet of the Mermaids.
Oh no!
Ape versus mer
people.
Oh yeah, I can.
Jesus.
Okay, I'm on board.
We were coming up with killer ideas. Yeah. Man, how are we this good? We should be in a writing room in Hollywood right now. B movie only, of course. We're seeing a dude worship a bomb.
Yeah,
and Taylor makes eye contact with him.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of looks, he's got like big bug eyes, kind of like an intense face on this actor.
I thought they'd be bonding because they have similar astronaut headgear.
Yeah, kind of a weird outfit, like a white, full outfit, that's fully covered, like head to toe, except for their faces.
Like the headgear reminded me of an astronaut's headgear.
Yeah, you're right. What they wear underneath the helmet, yeah.
So I was like, hey, compadre.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, this guy, they have this little noise, and Brent responds as if he's been asked a question that, we don't hear it, but he's responding like, oh yeah, my name's Brent, and then he slowly realizes that this guy isn't saying anything.
Yeah, his mouth isn't moving.
Yeah. And then some other guys come to take Brent away.
You're not really sure what Nova's doing at this point.
Yeah, she's been left outside.
She's still recovering from being almost drowned to death.
Right. Then it transitions into like a council room of these humans.
Yeah, because then it goes to the apes again, marching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're seeing they've got their TV on the wall. It's like a big hologram image of what we were seeing. At this point, they're just humans who don't speak. They communicate telepathically, and
I was trying to figure that out. Like, did they evolve and get this ability so apes couldn't hear them, kind of thing?
But I imagine it's just
because they tend to explain it as a matter of intelligence.
Right. I think as these humans have evolved, they have, gone beyond the need to speak. Unless they just communicate telepathically.
Or something.
Right. Yeah, they only speak when they're singing,
or when they find it necessary.
talking, praying to their god, or whenever they have to dumb themselves down to conversing with humans or apes.
And I was kind of hoping that when they started talking, they'd be like, "Oh, is this better for you, human? Look at me flap my mouth."
Taylor.
Yes. I wondered how they'd teach him how to do telepathy. Taylor. They just knock on his head.
Yeah.
But yeah, the beeping got really old really quick, and I'm glad they switched.
Yeah. At some point, they bring in Brent, right? They bring him in to essentially question him. Why is he here? What does he know? And then when he mentions the apes, they're really interested. They start all hitting him with these thought questions, and it's driving him insane. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of slow down and realize, oh, if we speak, his puny mind will be able to handle it rather than all of us trying to hit him telepathically.
And we learn that they're basically illusionists.
Yeah, they use traumatic hypnosis, which is their weapon of peace, to create illusions. Create illusions, Michael.
So basically, we're going to have magicians versus apes.
Yeah.
And hypnotists.
Yeah.
But that's the part that... So they're hypnotizing him when he's trying to kill her in the fountain.
Anytime that he was experiencing that sudden pain and intense headache, basically, that's all just in his mind, literally. It's all an illusion.
So could they illusion her into not fighting back?
Probably.
Make it a little easier, but maybe they enjoy watching the struggle.
I think there is some enjoyment because they are, in quotes, peaceful. They do, I think, like seeing their enemies fight. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, we see that later.
Because I just thought it was odd that they wouldn't mess with her mind while he's trying to drown her to let her,
Maybe they can do a mind probe, and they see that she's more simple. She's just,
They could probably blow up.
She's like all the other humans that they've probably come in contact with.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But then when they fight him, he's probably more of an anomaly. I mean, they've already got Taylor. Yeah. We know that.
And they mention they've messed with the apes they caught, and they think their skulls are too thick for their illusions.
Yeah, they don't have... Right, yeah, they don't have the power over apes that they do the humans, yeah.
I mean, they could still make them see things, it's just it doesn't stick as well, or maybe they can't control them like they can control Brent.
I think they can do the illusions to anyone. Yeah. But, they can't do the mind control. Yeah. Let's see.
But I find there's similarities between this council and the ape council in the first one, where they're sort of not... I know they treat him similarly.
Yeah, they don't really care what he has to say, and
and they don't. I don't know. They see him as inferior, both councils.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, you have to use your mouth to talk. Oh, you're a human.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you just can't win with these people.
No one gives the humans any
the old school humans
can't get any respect. Hey. Then we at this point we switch back to the gorillas who are still marching, and at this point they've entered the Forbidden Zone.
I just started thinking about Rodney Dangerfield now.
Well, he's going to be in our reboot.
I just remembered a joke he used to tell.
Yeah,
it was he's like, hey, I enjoy eating so much. I installed mirrors on the ceiling of my kitchen. Because he's sexy.
Right. It's just a sensual experience.
He's like, oh, just look at me. I don't know. I'm sure I butchered that joke, but it made me just... I don't know why that popped in my head when you started doing that. Yeah. The respect thing. I'm just picturing him laying on the kitchen floor eating. Grosses me out.
Just think about him in a sauna with the naked ape.
No. Well, thanks a lot. I won't be sleeping tonight.
My work here is done. Oh my god.
Exactly. Oh, and Heston. It would just be his teeth coming after me. Like, oh god, no. He's trying to teach me how to talk.
Taylor.
Patrick.
Nova. Me, Taylor. You, Patrick.
No. Damn you, Heston. Damn you to hell. And we're back.
Oh, yeah. So, where are we at? Apes are in the Forbidden Zone, and they're definitely advancing.
They're getting close to, imagine where Taylor was.
I think
since
so.
The firewall showed up.
Yeah.
Because I imagine there's a range they have.
Probably, like, you get so close, and then the fire starts, and then the lightning and all that. And it's, again, some seriously dark imagery. You've got these... It starts with the fire, and then you get these upside-down crucified apes burning at essentially on the cross, with this... with this imaginary fire, but the apes don't understand that it's all a vision.
Yeah,
they think
it's actually happening.
It's actually happening. Yeah.
Zeus is like, shoot
them, put them out of their misery. Yeah.
And then he's like, no, ape must not kill ape.
Yeah. So
like, ooh, it's backfired.
Yeah, firmly establishes that apes do not kill apes.
But then their God,
the lawgiver,
apes, the lawgiver starts weeping blood, and it gets really
seriously dark. But Zeus just kind of says enough's enough and rides into the fire.
I didn't quite understand what triggered him. Was it because he wouldn't believe the lawgiver to believe?
I think so. I think his faith is strong enough that I don't think he could have comprehended that anyone else has power over the lawgiver, essentially. I think he just, in a kind of a desperation, decides, I won't stand for this, Mm-hmm. So he rides into the fire, realizes it's an illusion. The lawgiver statue topples, and even in that moment, he's not so immune that he does freak out when the statue starts to fall, I think on him. Then obviously realizes it was all, an illusion, and it's. I like how they play it. All the gorillas who are they're freaking out.
Oh yeah,
it's really well done. So they continue. Essentially it doesn't stop them, but it definitely is a nice moment of them kind of resetting. Now they kind of realize what they're up against a little bit. Somehow their enemy has the ability to create illusions.
Yeah, it's almost like. Because I know they're not a physical group, the mutant humans.
Right.
And the apes are definitely the more physical of the two. So it's almost like it's mind games versus physical attack.
Totally, yeah. It's standard warfare, guns and brute strength versus,
I don't know if that's what they were trying to, do some weird commentary on, all these peace talks going on, and it's all just talk, it's not action, and then there's action and no talk.
Could be.
The two combining to blow up the world.
Yeah. We'll get there. Let's see. We cut back to the cathedral, and at this point, we see a bunch of humans who have all gathered to pray, and because they've learned that the apes are coming. There's no stopping the apes at this point, and they know they don't have weapons, really.
Did we already miss that weird scene where he's kissing and choking her?
Oh, that's right. They bring in Nova into the
Yeah.
council area and force Brent to. He starts kissing her and then puts his hands around her throat. And
I don't know if that was to make him talk. Yeah, that's how they found out that the apes were coming. Is
That's
because of
right.
that scene.
yeah.
But it was just weird how it went down.
Oh, and we do get you get the out of the four or five human council members.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is definitely their torturer. The
black dude that.
Yeah. Every time he'll kind of stare at Brent and close his eyes and Brent starts to.
Technically, he's not black. It's just his mask is.
Well, yeah.
They're all a weird looking
Yeah.
jellyfish / vampire. I don't know.
Yeah, once they're in the cathedral and they're all finished their praying and gospel singing, which...
Well, that's like part of it. They reveal their true selves.
Right. Once they're in front of the bomb praying, their whole thing is like, we reveal our true selves, and they all... And it's just a scene completely set up for shock value.
Yeah.
Because at this point, your audience is used to seeing apes, so there's no...
Yeah.
That's been played, to death as far as for any kind of shock. So, yeah, you've got the only thing you can try to shock anyone with is these humans who are actually mutants pulling off these masks.
And they're just like translucent skin,
very
jellyfishy,
kind of like
veiny.
you'd think if you peeled back a layer of skin, you got kind of some muscle tissue looking veins and kind of the way Darth Vader looks when he takes off the helmet at the end of Jedi. Spoilers.
It makes me think of X-Men when the council guy is turned into a jellyfish.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, veiny and
kind of see-through-ish.
Yeah.
That's what made me think of.
No, that's not a bad comparison.
And, I mean, when they took off their masks, the one thing I thought was, man, they can make some serious masks.
I thought the same thing. And actually, as you got a room full of people holding these masks, and the masks look really good.
Yeah.
They're really well-done masks. I mean...
These guys are good.
When they peel them back... You can tell that they're rubber masks, but when they're holding them in their hands, it's like they're
pretty decent.
They're really good masks.
Yeah. So not only do they
have
mind tricks, they can make a hell of a mask.
Right. But then that brings up a whole list of questions like who's making masks
and why?
Yeah, it's definitely.
If I was them, I'd want to go without it because it'd be a hell of a lot scarier.
But it's. There's no reason for it, essentially. It's only there to shock an audience. It's just there for shock value. So
the actors don't have to wear makeup all the time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because you're already... Half your budget's going to ape masks and ape makeup,
Yeah, it's done kind of randomly good and randomly bad. Like around the eyes.
Yeah.
I noticed wasn't too well done. Which I know is a hard area, but
sure,
still, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's going to be the focal point, so you think you'd tighten that up a bit.
Yeah.
But they're basically, coming up with the plan to use the bomb.
Yeah, essentially, it's pray to your god now because their ultimate plan is going to be detonate the bomb, kill everyone, and then to them, I think they're going to go probably ascend to their version of heaven or some sort of afterlife, maybe. We don't know.
It seems like he's having the kids hide somewhere, though.
He did say, have the children... I didn't write it down, but he did say...
Have them go to the temple or the... I thought he had to go somewhere differently.
Have everyone indoors and lock the children up or something like that. But that was probably just so they are spared being killed by apes.
Maybe.
Probably. They're still going to die, but at least they won't be killed by apes, I think is the reason for protecting the children.
Gotcha.
Who we don't see any children, I don't think I could handle seeing a bunch of little mutant kids.
Children of the Corn.
Yeah. Let's see. So the praying, gospel singing wraps up.
Yeah. Take Brent, thank him for coming, and
they've got Brent and Nova sitting just awkwardly in the
they're
off
just
to the side.
What the F is going on here?
One of the things I wrote down was how they end the whole sermon is may the blessing of the bomb almighty and the fellowship of the holy fallout descend on us all this day and forevermore. So it's kind of like, I like the notion that the congregation is called the holy fallout, and then or the fellowship of the holy fallout. That's kind of a cool name for, I guess, their congregation. At this point, they take Brent and Nova away again.
And then we get to reunited and it feels so good. That's right.
Yeah.
That should have been playing when they saw each other.
Totally.
It's like, Brent? Taylor?
I do like that Taylor sees Brent and he's like, what was your name?
Yeah.
You're Brent,
Heston looks at his hand because he had it written down.
the whole journey.
It's like, Brent.
Brent. So they get a little like reunite. I do like when Taylor questions like, "How did you get here?" And Brent was like, "Oh, same old story.
Same way you did.
Rocket, Ape City, whatever." Like he just sums it up very quickly. Like,
and I was waiting for him to say, "Just watch Planet of the Apes."
Yeah, I just watched the first movie and then.
Come on. Yeah, and then they lock him up. Nova's not with them.
No, Nova is somehow, for some reason, separated before this. So it's Brent and Taylor in the cage, and then
the enforcer.
His name's Ungaro.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I don't know.
Didn't even know.
Yeah. He shows up. This is the black mutant.
Who's really not black. The Black Mask
mutant. There's actually a lot of diversity in the crowd of followers or whatever.
It'd be boring if everyone had the same mask.
Yeah. And it's probably nice because they're used to dealing with a bunch of ape extras who all look identical. Yeah. You can kind of mix it up. So yeah, he shows up. He's the torturer, and he just starts, essentially just willing them to fight.
Yeah, he's
kill each other.
Basically saying we don't kill. Yeah. Again, they always say we don't kill. We have our enemies kill our enemies.
Yeah. So,
and then a epic fight, Star Trek-esque battle
very
begins.
Much, yeah.
A lot of grappling,
a lot of
haymakers.
Yeah,
really
Brent gets shoved into the bars, which the cell
awesome.
Bars have these spikes coming out of them.
They're like barbed wire.
Kinda. Just
that's how I thought of them.
And has like a really good reaction when he hits because essentially his back gets.
I thought he did a good job in general, like throughout the movie.
No, I did too.
Like, I enjoyed him a lot more than Heston in this.
Definitely, I wouldn't have wanted to watch Heston throughout this movie. If this was Taylor going through the whole movie, definitely wouldn't have wanted to watch. No, so they're fighting, and
it goes on for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, for quite a while, and then at one point they open up the door and throw in essentially a weapon. It's one of these like a club with some spikes on it.
Turned into a gladiator fight.
Very much. And then some of the guards are bringing Nova down the corridor, and she hears Brent say Taylor. So she gets away. She bites the hand of whatever the guard is that's walking with her, and then she sees Taylor, and it's an interesting way. Her reaction is kind of good, but it makes sense the way they play it. She screams out Taylor, so it's the first thing she ever says, but it sounds so weird. Taylor. But it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like she's never spoken before, so it wouldn't sound like
it's not gonna be crisp.
Yeah. But it just kind of takes me out of it. Like, it sounds weird.
I was hoping she'd take her hand to her lips and go,
Taylor. Me Nova.
That would have been great.
Yeah, but it serves to distract the torturer enough so that Taylor and Brent can take him down. They shove him up against the wall, essentially, sticking him to the wall like.
And they close the door on
him.
Then
sandwich him between the bars and the door, so he's just. It's like one of those Iron Maidens, just runs him through from both sides, and
then they let the door close.
Yeah, he falls down and has his like death scene where he gets to peel his mask off, and he says like I reveal myself.
Yeah, it's what they say when they're talking to their gods. It's his peace out.
Yeah. Let's see. At this point, we start to hear gunfire and scenes of the apes have made it to the city.
Yeah.
And
not a whole lot there. because that head guy says let them find a city of dead.
Yeah. Their plan, I think was
everyone's just killing themselves.
Yeah.
Because they find that one girl.
Yeah, I noted that the way they react, it doesn't seem like apes have any concept of suicide.
Yeah.
You know, because I think for them that was a brand new, like.
Oh yeah.
It seemed,
because the other humans are just instinct and they're not gonna probably kill themselves.
Right. So I thought it was a really kind of interesting moment of showing the apes find this dead woman.
Like plays with her hair and gets yelled
at.
Yeah. That was weird.
Let's see.
I don't know if maybe he'd never seen a human that close up before, or
that, and we've never seen a blonde.
Dummies.
We've never seen a blonde human.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a
blonde female anyway.
Well, that
the guy's
long blonde. Yeah, sure.
Although
it kind of blends
she doesn't
in.
really have hair.
Sure, it's a mask.
It's a mask with really good hair.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he was feeling it, because he sensed it wasn't real. I don't know.
I think it's more just the color. I think they're used to seeing humans with black or brown hair.
I'm trying to think if they ever saw one of the humans without the mask on and it freaked them out.
No.
I don't think they did.
Oh, that they should have done that. Yeah, that's...
I thought that would have been cool. Like, they
go...
completely hairless human.
Huh. Ooh. Yeah, they should have shown one of the humans without
the mask. On, half off, like...
Yeah, or that's how she should have been laying there.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going
to
be the thing, but...
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was like her hair was still on, like she was taking off her mask.
Yeah.
If they're going to kill themselves, you'd think they'd do that whole, I revealed myself.
Yeah, that was probably a missed moment, but then they probably wouldn't have had the hair. I don't know.
I thought it would have been
Yeah,
cool.
No, they definitely should have shown her.
So I was trying to think if later on there's anyone, but I don't think there is.
I think the only humans they see then have masks on. And yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah, let us down. It's there's a lot of chaos. Like humans just spraying gunfire on crowds of, apes spraying gunfire on crowds of humans. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it goes by really quick.
Yeah. And at this point,
this whole thing is just a juggernaut of action, and then
completely. Taylor and Brent, they're using that club weapon to pry open the bars of their jail. They get out. Then they're kind of like
Nova.
All three of them get out of the cell.
Ape comes up the stairs really weirdly.
Yeah.
And then dun.
What happens? Do they hit the ape?
Yeah, they knock him back down the stairs, but he gets a shot off.
Yeah, a couple shots off, and we see Nova gets it. She gone. So at that point,
Taylor.
Taylor has.
He's just like
he's over it at that point. He's
everyone die, my girlfriend's dead.
Yeah, and we forgot to mention that Brent and Taylor have already talked about the bomb.
Oh yeah.
There's a threat of a bomb. They have a bomb. It's operational, and of course Taylor's like, well, they've found their ultimate weapon, or basically
he's the one that knows what it can do.
He knows, that it's essentially a leftover from their time period, kind of.
He knows what it is, but Brent
doomsday
doesn't know
weapon.
what it is.
Yeah, because Brent says it's got some markings on the fin, and
Alpha
and then Heston or Taylor says an Omega, and Brent has no clue kind of what it means.
And then Heston goes, man,
you finally really did it. So it's kind of another...
He's trying to plug his movie, Omega Man.
Oh, yeah. I missed that.
I'm subtle.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I like the scene where the apes show up in this corridor of statues.
Yeah, they just start smashing it.
And he's like, it's blasphemy, or it's something like that. He doesn't... It's essentially false idols to him. Like, they're worshiping these false idol busts, statues of...
It's like any holy war that goes on, they crush...
Yeah, they start to destroy... And that seemed
imagery.
Weird. Yeah, that seemed weird to me because I didn't get the sense that these human mutants would have created busts or statues of previous leaders. Like,
maybe those are the molds they use for their mask making.
Maybe, yeah, it could be.
I think it's just I imagine there's got to be some kind of hierarchy, you know, like a priest.
Previous popes kind of thing. Like,
So I'm guessing that's what that is.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they're all wearing the same headgear.
Yeah, and most of them look like the same person.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're going through smashing crap up, and they get into the hall where the guy's praying, and, like, sort of how Brent found the same guy. He's got his back to the doorway.
Yeah.
Looking at the bomb,
And is this... Which guy was this?
Who's the main leader?
The main leader, yeah, kind of wearing the purple... Yeah, okay.
The one that is at the center of the council.
Okay, yeah. Essentially, Ursus just... Like, they listen to him for a minute, and Ursus is like, Sergeant... He just sprays him with bullets and kills the human leader.
Yeah. Taylor and Brent go on a rampage because Nova's been shot and killed.
Yeah, they're like sneaking around trying to outflank the apes.
They're kind of watching what is going on, trying to figure out that launching.
Yeah,
console.
they see the guy. He presses down like 2 of the buttons. I think one raises it, one's probably like priming it. They and it's kind of strange. Like Zaius apparently knows that the bomb is bad news. Like
It's probably in some prophecy or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason that he would see the bomb and know that it's a bomb. You know, I don't think he has any clue what it can do.
I think he's assuming if it's been created by humans that it's going to be bad. I think that's as much as he knows.
Yeah, and I guess he knows what a projectile looks like. He knows it looks like a bullet, so maybe he knows that it's a weapon, you know.
I mean, obviously they're still dubious about flying airplanes.
Yeah.
Like paper airplanes.
Yeah, that was a something I found in the trivia that in the first movie they say flight is an impossibility.
Yeah.
But when the guard earlier, when he shoots Brent, there's a bird that flies out of the bushes.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of like...
I think maybe they mean for ape. It's an impossibility. Like a bird, obviously. They're built for it. But maybe...
they also like... The idea of a paper glider is enough to like, well, what the hell is this? You know, so
that's true.
Not something that really
you can't really CG the bird out, I guess.
No. But anyways,
like, I totally threw that bird. It's not flying.
Yeah. Let's see.
That's funny. I never even thought about it.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like it's an impossibility for a non-flying animal.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd know about like lift
other animals flying. Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's not something to get caught up on too much.
It's a freaking ape movie. Come on.
Right, yeah. How is Manhattan Underground? Let's break it down.
It just fell enough to get underneath into the subway system.
Right.
That's about as much as I could figure out. Can't go too far down, otherwise you'll spring a leak, and then you're gonna have to get some buckets and start saving the island.
Right. Let's see. At this point, the apes are like pulling the rocket down just to, I guess, to stop it from.
They don't know what else to do.
Yeah, they don't know what else to do. So they're pulling it down.
Maybe dismantle it or something.
Yeah.
Or carry it off.
And as soon as it like hits the ground, it like starts releasing this gas, which I can't tell is it poison gas because
seem so.
It's not really like killing anyone.
It's just freaking them out.
Yeah, so I don't know what the gas that is released is.
I was getting ready for them to start taking their clothes off. Another steam room.
Oh yeah. Right. These humans know how to party.
Zaius and the other dude start looking at each other. You think what I'm thinking?
Oh yeah.
That's the scene of this movie, I swear.
Yeah.
It's so... Okay, anyways. Bring it down, steam starts billowing.
Yeah, Brent, like, creates a distraction with the piano or organ that's nearby. Yeah. And I think at that point... Taylor gets shot because Zaius spots someone to their left, I think. Taylor gets shot, falls down. Brent, at this point, shoots Ursus, kills him, and
I was hoping for an epic battle between
and it's
one
really
of them
not.
It's
or just
two of them. Yeah,
it's kind of a.
It's just done.
Yeah,
that's
it's
how
a
this
melee
movie goes.
of like.
It's just over.
Yeah, like Brent is kind of at the high ground and kind of fortified in his little crevice and
Taking
just
down
starts
apes.
taking out apes like left and right.
And then it jams and.
Well, I think he just runs out of bullets.
Oh, is it just run out? Okay.
At that point, Taylor confronts Zaius. He's crawling on the ground, and he's
asking for help.
Looks like he's holding his heart
Yeah.
in his hand. His hand's covered in blood because he got shot in the chest. Asks Zaius for help, and Zaius has a nice he completely denies Taylor and tells him man is evil, capable of nothing but destruction.
And I'll prove it to you.
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
Brent gets
shot, kind of dies like Jesus. Like his arms are spread out. He takes a bullet to the head, and then
body,
across his chest. Yeah.
That's the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Right. So it's at this point, everyone's just dying left and right.
And this is a matter of half a minute. This happens.
Yeah. They save it all for the very end.
I don't know if they ran out of money on the film. They're just all right, time to wrap it up. It's our last 15 minutes we got.
Yeah.
I told them how it's going to end.
Good.
I was like, it was all a dream.
And then Brent wakes up.
He's in New York, ready to get on the subway.
Yeah.
Taylor's there.
Nova's there too. She's taking tickets on the subway.
Yeah. Those other two guys are there. They're not stuffed animals anymore.
There's a little kid with a stuffed toy of some apes.
That would be awesome.
That's how our movie is going to wrap up. After the mermaid ape human mutant fight.
Yeah, they ended up at Chuck E. Cheese with those talking robot apes. And they're singing, Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius.
Oh, Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Oh, Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius.
Oh, man, we are geniuses.
We're on fire. So what happened? Where are we at now?
Everyone got shot in a matter of 30 seconds.
Everyone's dead.
Heston reaches one last gasp.
Calls Zaius a bloody bastard, but essentially for not helping him. Which at that point, what does he expect Zaius to do?
Yeah, he's got a hole in his heart.
Yeah,
is he wanting him to push the button? Because I thought Heston was just ready to blow this shit up.
Yeah, I don't know what he expected Zaius to do, but Taylor's last move is to fall and hit the button, hit the big red button.
And then it close up on his hand, and it's flipping over.
That's it. And
there's a voiceover.
Yeah. It fades to white. You can kind of hear the bomb sounds like it's going off. And we get a voiceover that just says, in one of the countless billions of galaxies in the universe lies a medium-sized star, and one of its satellites, a green and insignificant planet, is now dead. That's how the movie ends.
Yeah. It's have fun, kids.
Yeah.
See you next time.
I mean, imagine leaving
kids
a theater.
Liked this series. They probably had a.
I like this series.
Yeah. There were probably tons of kids that went to this thinking they're going to see another fun ape movie.
Yeah, I don't. It's insane.
It's the bleakest, darkest Heston imagination.
Right.
Because this is him. This is on Heston.
Yes, he's the one that said, okay, this is how the movie should end. The bomb should go off, destroying everything and eliminating the possibility of sequels.
Yeah. And
that's like a quote.
Yeah, not only that, but they kill him.
Everybody.
Shoot him in the heart. He dies. That's not enough.
Yeah.
They gotta blow up the whole friggin' planet. At least the planet's still green, though. It's
radioactive green.
Yeah, it's true. They probably got a lot of food now, ironically.
Yeah.
These giant watermelons.
Right.
Oh, is this where Godzilla comes in?
Ooh. We'll add him to our movie.
It goes to that white screen, and then you just hear...
Yeah.
I can't do that.
No, I was going to try, but I can't.
It just sounded like Brian Posehn.
Nice. He'll be in our movie.
He plays Godzilla.
Obviously.
In a suit. And I hope it's as good as the ape suits.
I want him to be like, did you ever watch Did you ever watch the Tick cartoon?
Yeah.
The what was his name? Guy had like a dinosaur body.
Oh yeah,
But just a regular human face. Like I'm picturing Brian Poseidon's face on a Godzilla body.
Nice. God, I think we've come up with a killer movie.
Hell yeah.
We got mermaids, we got apes, we got dream sequences with Chuck E. Cheese animatronic.
That's awesome.
Oh.
So let's wrap this thing up. I mean, the movie ends super quick, so we might as well just wrap it up as quick as.
Movie sucked. Done. Credits.
Let's see. Did I hit on my trivia I want to talk about? Oh,
that's what I thought of when I thought of Kevin Smith when he says credits, because that's what happened.
Credits.
It was like bomb blew up, voiceover, credits.
Credits, yeah. And shocking. Did you read the credits?
No.
Because there's not very many people that's listed. You know, it's really just a couple of the apes, our humans, and then our
Heston
mutants.
at the end.
Heston. There's one credit that says Fat Man.
Oh, I did see that, yeah.
As Victor Buono. Is
he the council member?
He's the fat council member who is...
There's not many men in the movie.
Yeah. You brought up the Batman episode with King Tut.
Oh, he's King Tut?
He's King Tut.
Nice.
That's Victor Buono.
Okay, I can see that.
And did you see like a couple credits down from Fat Man? Negro.
Oh,
yes.
They did.
The black torturer
is called... I thought he had a name.
Credited in the film as Negro.
Didn't he have a name?
When you look that up in IMDb, his character is named Ongaro. Even the Fat Man's character is named Adipose something. So no idea why he was credited as Negro. But there you go. And that was Don Pedro Colley. So give him his proper
Don Pedro
Colley, yeah.
So is he like, he's probably Dominican or something? He's probably...
Could be, yeah. With the name Don Pedro, yeah, I don't know. And one of the guys, one of the council mutants,
Nova called the Broad.
Yeah.
What the
wench.
Jeez.
The names of the mutants are completely irrelevant because none of them are named.
Yeah.
But they all have names. One of them is named Caspe, and he is played by Jeff Corey. Do you know where we've seen him before? You couldn't picture it. I mean, he's the guy with the glasses, one of the mutant leaders with glasses.
I'd say a Bond movie because we've seen so many of them.
Luke Benson from Superman and the Mole Man, the guy who's like trying to kill all the mole men.
He's the one that has no concept of how strong Superman is and still tries to...
Yeah, or has no respect for the authorities and tries to shoot cops.
Kidding.
That's nice. Luke Benson, yeah.
Wow, that's like 20 years after the fact.
Yeah, it's about 20 years. And he
aged well.
Yeah. Let's see.
Wow. Yeah, I was just going to say Bond because we've seen so many.
Right, yeah.
I was thinking he was some kind of henchman or person.
Yeah. Let's see, I talked about the original screenplay about Planet of the Men, Taylor leading an uprising of enslaved men 14 years later. One of the scriptwriters, the reason that there's so much atomic, that's the entire point of the second half of the movie is the atomic fear, atomic bomb, that kind of thing. I guess that writer also wrote Goldfinger, but he was in the war and had some fears of atomic warfare from that. So that's why they incorporated that into this movie.
Yeah, I was thinking if you were like a teen or close to that in the 50s, you were doing all those bomb drills, so it's probably scary.
Yeah. It makes sense that there's an atomic... I mean, they established that in the first movie, that's what caused the planet to be the way it is.
I mean, if you look at the movies from back in that time period with anything sci-fi, a lot of it's radioactivity.
Right,
and, then once we get into space, then you see space stuff. And,
one of the ideas that was dropped before filming was the idea of a half-human, half-ape child.
I remember hearing about this.
Yeah. Dropped for the implications of bestiality that, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't work.
It would only work if somehow it was like a lab experiment. That's the only way you could get around it, but still...
No, they can't even fly. There's no way they're getting genetics.
No.
Well, it's definitely like... I'm picturing an ape with giant Heston teeth and a receding hairline.
Oh God.
The stuff of nightmares.
Yes.
And it's just going
Sleep
around.
well tonight, children.
It's just like, ah.
There's an ape running around. Ah. You really did it.
Very angry ape. Just.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a chimpanzee though, because of his hair color.
I think more orangutan.
Oh, that's right. The orangutans are
blonde, reddish.
Whichever Zira is, because I think those two could have gotten busy.
Yeah.
Because I always felt like they had a weird, like, connection.
Oh, just because he kissed her once.
Well, even before that, she seemed like fond of him.
Yeah. She definitely took a liking to.
And I mean,
but he's so ugly.
Oh, God. I love that line.
Yeah.
You're so damn ugly.
Yeah.
So
all
true.
right.
So pros and cons are gonna be rough.
I think we're there. Do you want to start with? Do you want to start with cons? We're probably gonna have a lot of them.
I'm not gonna list them all.
Yeah.
The con for me is just the concept of the rescue mission. Like, not
really
much. Well, it's just like I don't understand how they knew he was in trouble. If he's gonna go on a trip that's gonna take all these years,
right?
And I mean, maybe they were just like, oh, maybe we should go see if we can follow up on them, or
right,
something like that. Maybe science has advanced since that time, so they think they can get there and back quicker.
Right.
I don't know. It's just odd that there is a rescue mission.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I like the idea that the movie is just a simple story at its core, that it is just a rescue mission. I like that. And I guess for me, I don't know what I would have thought at the first time I ever saw this movie, but now that we live in a world where they've made the new batch of sequels, the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, if you watch that first new ape movie, there's a couple scenes in the background. There's like newspaper headlines and TV, news stories, and they talk about the new space mission Icarus has launched, and then a couple scenes later in the movie, you see another news headline where the Icarus has disappeared. That's Taylor's mission.
Yeah.
So now that I've seen the new movies, I know that the rocket disappeared somehow. Something went wrong, they disappeared. So that now I can buy the idea that there would be a rescue mission. Someone's looking for them to see why they disappeared. But
I mean, I think it's the time travel thing that's going to screw up this whole thing.
You're right. It doesn't make sense that they planned to go into hibernation for thousands of years
when a lot of years had already passed by the time he's going in.
No, you're right. I don't know why there's a rescue.
Because you think they'd disappear once they went into the wonky time hole, which would have been before or after he went into cryo sleep or whatever you call it. So, I don't know. It's just...
Okay.
I get that way with time travel movies in general.
I guess for me it's like... It's briefly mentioned at the beginning of both movies, and then it's basically ignored the rest of the way. So it's not a
I just
time
don't think
travel...
I was expecting to be a rescue mission.
I guess for like a movie like Back to the Future, time travel is at the core of the story. So it needs to make sense. Whereas this, it just kind of sets up the movie, but doesn't they don't really talk about time travel that much. So it doesn't, I guess I just didn't get,
like I could understand if he was just following in their footsteps.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand the rescue part.
Right.
Like,
that makes sense. I get where you're coming from.
Because I always got the sense that they knew they were on a mission that was going to take them away from everything, and they wouldn't be returning to their time and all that. So I figured, what's the point of the rescue mission?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of that before, but
because even if he does find them and then comes back, it's still going to be tons of time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. I think one of my cons is by the end of the movie when it's ape versus mutant, I have no horse in the race. I don't care who wins at this point because neither side is, aside from the few apes like Zira and Cornelius and the few humans like Taylor and Nova and Brent, you've got no one to root for.
Yeah.
There's no one that you want to win, so it doesn't matter.
I don't even want Heston and Brent to, because I don't even know what they're trying to do.
Right.
That's the weird thing about it. You don't know what their end game is.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Heston's going through his sensitive stage since Nova's been killed, and he wants everyone to die.
Yeah, and like I was telling you before, I think before we were recording, I'm with this movie like 3/4 of the way through. But once they kind of reach the mutants and they're worshiping the bomb and all that stuff, it really loses me. But I'm into the first part of the movie because it is the apes are mounting up for war, and Brent's looking for Taylor and all that. I'm on board with all that. But the ending really, once it takes a turn, it loses me completely.
Well, it becomes a totally different movie. It's just like you fell into a C-grade movie.
Yeah, and it probably doesn't help. I read that the actor James Franciscus, who plays Brent, and the director took like a week to do rewrites, and there were other script writers that took stabs at the writing. So the whole movie, it's kind of a mess. Yeah. At that point, it's like they don't know what kind of movie they want to make until the end when they bring up all the bomb stuff.
The studio just wanted to collect on the magic of the first one because it was such a surprising hit. They're like, oh, let's just anything with apes will do well. Let's just throw it together real quick.
And I thought something I noted that last time you talked about the Apes movies were greenlit because Fox needed a win. Fox was struggling financially, so they did the Ape movie. It brought them some money, but then between Planet of the Apes and Beneath, they had some other failures like Tora, Hello Dolly, I think, and so this movie's budget was cut because Fox couldn't afford. So it's like, again, they're banking on Apes, trying to pull them out of...
recapture the same struggle they had.
So I think that's another failure, that Fox was kind of in a bad place at the time, so it didn't help,
So I don't think the first movie had a huge budget either.
I'm
sure it was bigger,
but even this movie, it essentially cost them around $3 million, and they made 18. So they got some money back.
Still a success. I think they, I don't know. It's just weird that they kept making them after this one.
Right.
That's okay. Interesting. And
the first Planet of the Apes, the budget was $5.8 million, and they took in $33 million. So it made money,
Yeah, I remember it made a good chunk of change. And I'm not surprised this one did half of that because it's a sequel.
Yeah.
It's a bummer of a sequel.
Totally.
It sort of flies into my next con.
Yeah.
I felt like it was just a rehash of the first movie, where we were talking earlier, and it's just captured or crash lands, finds a human, tries to talk with it, goes off to Ape City, gets captured, gets out, goes onto the road in the Forbidden Zone, and then you get to the Beneath the part, but from that point, it's just a basic structure of the first movie, just sped up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can see the similarities and
touch with Zira in the office and the map, and it was just weird. It was like deja vu.
I think one of my cons is we don't get much Cornelius or Zira. Essentially, once Brent takes off, they're in the middle of the movie, they're gone. They're completely out of it.
It's not really an ape movie.
It kind of isn't. You get a lot of gorillas. You get a lot of Dr. Zaius and a lot of gorillas.
But for the most part, it's watching his adventure to get to Taylor.
Yes, and again,
and it is
first part of it, I'm okay with that.
Apes.
But no, once they get to the mutants, it's kind of a mess for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The first 3/4, it makes sense because it's essentially what you saw in the first one. So it's
it's more of the same.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it just turns on a dime, and what the hell is going on? There's buzzing in my ear. People are choking each other. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Praying to bombs.
There's people with jellyfish heads.
Yeah. I think another thing I have a problem with is just, we've already talked about it. The bleak ending is just, it's too much of a message of anti-nuclear,
It's just a bummer.
Yeah, but it's like they're all of a sudden they want people to leave this movie thinking, we should calm down on the arms race, and nuclear power shouldn't be as widespread as it's becoming, and we shouldn't have nuclear weapons. I mean,
if you ask me, it's giving the message that we should just nuke it and end everything.
Yeah, it's definitely a.
It's like it's already
why
too
bother?
late.
Yeah,
it's too late. Just destroy everything and start over.
Yeah,
that's the mutants' point of view.
Yeah,
it's a peacekeeping weapon, and the only way there's gonna be peace is if everyone's gone.
Right.
So yeah, awesome message.
Yeah.
Really leaves you leaving the theater. I would love to see the people exiting that movie, like kids, parents.
Oh, man.
They're just like, what the?
Yeah.
I bet that's the first time somebody uttered WTF.
Right. Yeah, there's nowhere to go. I mean, I know where they go from here, and I like how they continue the next movie. I knew going into this one that I didn't care for it because I knew I didn't like the ending that much.
And you said yourself you didn't remember the
beginning of it, which
part because
maybe
it's similar to the first one.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And I could watch this movie again. Like I said, I watched this movie a week ago or so. I watched it again last night just to be fresh,
you're a sadist.
for the recording. And it was once they hit the underground or once they hit the mutants, I was like, I'm out of it, But we got to talk about some pros. There is some good stuff here.
It's a short movie.
It's shorter, yeah. For me, the scope and the big scenes, the marching, the big crowds of apes, like we've said, some of the makeup and the masks are cheap looking if you really focus on the background, but they handle a lot of extras and a lot of like crowds. I think they make their budget really stretched out, and for me, it's a positive. They really make the money last or whatever. So
okay. I'll have to say I enjoyed Brent.
Yeah.
I thought the actor did a good job.
Sure.
He was sort of, I don't know what the word is. He had a different experience because he didn't have to go through the struggle of not being able to talk.
Sure.
Like Heston's character.
Yeah.
Taylor.
Yeah.
So he was like right off the bat,
He had the advantage of not being instantly captured.
Yeah.
And in captivity, he was able to see it from the
distance.
Outside. Yeah.
And I thought like it wasn't so super heroic. Like he wasn't like obviously kicking like butt on 5 different apes at one time like Heston.
Yeah.
So I thought it was more realistic. He was better at sneaking around a little bit more.
Yeah.
I just liked his character better than Taylor, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. My other point was Linda Harrison as Nova. I think for 2 movies, and she only has one word, but
what's that word?
Taylor.
She had a husky voice.
Yeah. No, but just her performance through these 2 movies, she plays it really well. Like I said before, you could look at it and think, oh, she's bland and boring and dull, but I think it's probably harder to be so.
It's hard not to react.
Unemotive. Yes, it's hard not to react. So I think it's a pretty awesome job of playing it, the way she does. I mean,
people nod just out of habit,
right?
And she didn't do that. Like when they're like, "Okay, we're gonna go over here," and she's like, just goes. She doesn't like acknowledge it with like a nod or like or doing any like weird shrugs like somebody asks her a question.
Yeah. So for me, she's definitely a positive part of the movie.
I was hoping you were going to tell me that they dubbed her one line, like the Bond girls.
Right.
They brought in somebody specific to say, Taylor.
Nova. Do you have anything else you can say positive about it?
Trying to think. But
my last one is one you've already mentioned, the pacing.
Yeah.
The movie moves quicker.
Yeah.
And for me, it helps build that suspense and intrigue while kind of while they're looking for Taylor, essentially. So
Yeah, I had no.
for me, that
like we were talking about earlier. I completely forgot about Taylor.
yeah, no, and I think that helps, like because you've got Brent first being exposed to the ape city, and then you go to some chase scenes, and then the carriage fight chase. So there's a lot of like interesting aspects of the movie that the first, like I said, first 2/3, 3/4 of the movie, I think, move really quickly.
Yeah, but and the last third moves insanely
it
quickly.
It moves very fast as well, but
it's just like
so
captured, tell your secrets, and then everyone dies.
yeah,
Like everyone's shot, and then everyone dies.
yeah.
I would have liked to have seen like I don't know. It's just weird that like everyone's just dead. Like
Yeah.
there's no reaction. There's nothing. It's just a hand on a button, and then nothing.
Yeah.
It's
To me,
it seemed like they ran out of money and couldn't.
right.
Like I don't know. Heston should have been riding it like a horse.
Yes.
What was that, Dr. Strangelove?
Yeah, Dr. Strangelove. Slim Pickens riding the bomb.
Yeehaw!
Nice.
I don't know.
Fighting in the war room.
I thought there'd be like some psychedelic light show, like when the bomb goes off.
Yeah.
Like they're back into the Big Bang or something.
Yeah.
Like it was just a gray screen with a grim narrator.
Yeah, which that bugs me as well. It's like, where does that come from? Like, is this the voice of God Almighty, the creator of the universe, or like who's why is there a voiceover at the end explaining that this planet is dead? So I think it's too in your face. Like they literally wanted to get the message across to the audiences, like your planet is dying unless you change things, and I don't know. I'm all for like a green message about like, hey, recycle and less pollution and this and that.
Yeah,
but
Captain Planet.
yeah, I mean, I'm fine with some of that, but to be like, this planet was once green, now it's dead.
It was a story of no hope and bleakness.
Yeah.
Like they tried, they struggled, they said, F it, let's blow it up.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
essentially the message. There is no hope. We can't help but destroy ourselves.
No. So, I mean, let's just finish it up. Let's do our overall thoughts and ratings and put this one behind us.
Well, I'll go first.
Okay.
This was an insignificant movie that ended, and I call it Beneath the Planet of the Apes, even though we barely go beneath the planet, and it's still New York, so I'm not quite entirely sure how that happened. But maybe it was the Hulk, he smashed it down or something. I don't know, but I'd have to say I cannot watch this movie again. I'll never watch it again. No, I mean, I guess it's nice to close up. I don't know how it ties in with the next movies, so maybe I needed to watch it. But I don't see how if this was the end, so I'm still waiting to see how that works out. But I'm going to go like 1.5. This was brutal. Yeah, there was no need for me to like see this because it was essentially the same movie except a really whacked out ending. They're still harping on about how humans suck and still bringing up religion and holy wars, and I don't know. It didn't do anything for me. So yeah, bummer.
Yeah. No, you're not.
I was hoping for more. It wasn't really an Apes movie to me at all.
Right.
So.
Yeah. My thoughts are, for me, it starts out strong because if you watch this back to back with the first movie, to me, it doesn't bother me to see kind of the last 5 minutes of the previous movie at the beginning of this one. So for me, it starts out pretty strong. I like how it progresses quickly, and it is a story about a simple rescue mission, whether or not that rescue is necessary or whatever, or why they're on a rescue mission.
Yeah, there was no need for it.
Yeah,
Since, they were going to blow each other up anyway.
Yeah. I like the anti-human guerrilla army. I like that scene of them like gearing up and taking the trip into the Forbidden Zone to try and conquer whatever's out there. But for all the build up and all the tension that's established, once the mutants are revealed and everything becomes some fanatic atomic bomb worshipping society of mutants. It falls apart for me. It wraps up, like we've said, too bleak and too just. There's no point of
Yeah.
this movie really, because
they're gonna go that route either way.
And it doesn't feel like it's
rescue him or not.
Yeah, and I think I'm partially probably thinking of the entire Ape franchise as a whole, and this one doesn't continue the Ape story.
Yeah, it doesn't continue anything. So.
But I know based on what I can remember from the next movie, it progresses. It launches the next part of the Ape story.
Really?
Further, yeah. From what I remember of the next movie, which is Escape from the Planet of the Apes, I really like the next two movies.
Because this makes it seem like instant death.
Right.
So that's why I'm dubious about the next movie.
From what I can remember, the bomb went off, but I don't think it destroys the entire planet.
Because, it makes me think that there would be other ape societies across the world.
That'd be interesting to
because
find out,
it should destroy Ape City, because I don't feel like they're that far apart.
3 days ride, basically,
but close enough where the fallout should kill them pretty quickly. I mean, they're not going to be instantly toasted, but
I don't want to give anything away from the next movie because for me it's a fun idea of where it goes.
But
so I don't want to give anything like that away.
Other characters are still, I'm guessing Cornelius and Zira are still going on, so...
Yeah, we're going to see them in the next movie.
That's why I was like, is this a prequel, or is it... How could it be a sequel if this Alpha Omega bomb
Sure, yeah.
Because the only possible thing I could think of is if, in China there's some ape society going on.
This movie, the end of this movie, is a catalyst to propel the next movie forward. So that's probably the only good thing that it serves is to.
Then how the hell are they going to escape if they can't fly?
Well, you'll find out.
They take his ship and reverse engineer.
And honestly, I don't remember how.
I don't get it.
I don't remember.
They're gonna have to learn how to fly pretty damn quick. I'm just picturing them all with bird wings, fashioned, and
jumping off cliffs.
The one ape that shot him in the bush is like, I saw this animal take flight.
let's practice with these humans, and we'll strap some wings to their backs, shove them off this cliff.
And there's a shot of two brothers learning how to fly.
Oh, that'd be great.
Hey, these two brothers got it right. Holy hell. We're writing the sequel now.
Oh, good. I didn't give my rating. So I think, having all that said, I'm like I've said a couple times now, 2/3, 3/4 of this movie, I'm behind. But the ending is enough of a disappointment that it kind of cancels out everything for me.
That makes the first.
So I got to give this a 2 out of 5. Which, what's that? Makes it a
1.75.
1.75, yeah. So obviously the lowest movie on our list so far.
Yeah.
And
well, it's not surprising.
I'm not surprised. No.
It's a cash grab movie. They were desperate and threw it together desperately, and it shows. Yeah. I mean, at least the makeup was still kind of there, but it was just scaled back.
Yeah, and with the limited budget they had and as many extras that they showed, and not only ape extras, you got a bunch of human extras that had to have pretty intensive makeup as well. So it's impressive what they were able to accomplish, but it was just a mess.
Yeah, it should have been more since it was such a successful.
And I don't think they should have let Heston dictate the ending of this movie.
Well, like I said, I think it's just a cash grab. I don't think they were thinking, franchise, because it really wasn't that many franchises other than Bond.
Yeah. One thing I did like seeing is that Heston didn't take a salary for this movie. He gave all his earnings to charity. So that's a bright note, positive note, at least something to come out of this. But I mean,
and that money went to fund a bomb to blow up the world.
Probably. Probably went to purchase, or probably it was given to some NRA charity or some kind of
it probably went to fund the Waco, Texas crowd. It just seems so. That's what it made me think of, was like a cult.
Yeah.
The followers of the Fallout.
Yeah, no, they're totally a religious cult. But,
Well, that's what it was. It was a battle of different beliefs.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm going to go slit my wrists.
Yeah, it's just a bummer.
Yeah.
I just
but
got done
it's
watching
behind us,
Yeah, I guess.
I
It really messed with me.
Yeah.
And Heston, way to go. I don't know. I just feel like that even though he did it for charity, somehow it ruined something. That's how bad this movie is.
Yeah.
It's like he had all the intentions in the right place for it, but it still ended up doing something horrible.
Yeah.
No good could have come from this movie.
No, not at all. Well, do we want to move on to our next movie?
Maybe. I don't know anymore. What's the point?
Yeah. Nothing matters. No. Oh, this is interesting. I thought that our next movie was Diamonds Are Forever, but it's not. Our next movie is Escape from the Planet of the Apes. So, the good thing is, you instantly get to find out how the next movie...
Yeah, I thought it was Diamonds, too.
I did, too. I guess I thought we were flip-flopping, like, one ape movie, then a Bond movie, then an ape movie, but based on the release dates, Escape is next on our list. If you'd rather, we could do a Bond movie just to not instantly go into more apes, but
yeah, let's just stick with the apes, get it over with. You said it's not as bad as this one.
I remember really liking this movie.
Okay.
And hopefully that helps or holds up, because I did also remember not liking Beneath. So my memory is fairly accurate as far as like
generalities.
What I remember is which ones I liked and didn't like. So from here on out, the next two, Escape and Battle for the third and fourth, I remember liking both of them. So as far as ape movies go, I think we're going to be okay for the next one. So
the next Bond movie is a new Bond. Right?
No. The next Bond movie is Diamonds Are Forever, which is Connery's last one. Well,
so he
came back after George Lazenby. Yeah, he came back to do one more.
So I knew it was that guy's only Bond movie. So
yeah.
I thought it'd be a new one. Goes back.
And that's one of those that takes a lot of crap. I kind of remember liking it. I think it's a fun movie. It's not a good.
I think I just remember the theme song.
Yeah, it's another one of those Shirley Bassey, Goldfinger type.
Yeah, I'd have to. Bond. I'm pretty lousy until we get to not Bronson. What's his name? Bronson. Charlie Bronson.
Hey, Money Penny.
Death Wish.
Death Wish. Well, I mean the Dalton movies aren't far off from a Bronson movie. They're pretty dark.
What's his name?
Brosnan.
Brosnan.
You were close.
Bronson.
Yeah, you were.
I knew
right
it was
there.
in the ballpark. I just knew it wasn't Bronson.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, chickadee. Oh man, yeah, this movie ruined me.
Yeah. Go take a bath. Go take a steam. Take a steam.
No. I'm never gonna go in a sauna again. God, I can't imagine.
What was I gonna say? Oh, here's a pro tip for all you listeners. If any of you spent $2.99, $3.99, whatever it was to rent Beneath the Planet of the Apes, you'll be happy to know that HBO has all of them streaming, which I didn't find out until after I paid for this one. So nice. We were randomly flipping through the movies that are all listed in HBO Go, and all of the Apes movies, movies are in HBO right now. So
all right, well then let's watch the next ape movie while it's still there, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know how long they'll be there, but yeah.
I just need something to get this bad taste out of my eyeballs.
Yeah. I think you'll be.
It can't get worse.
It can't. Yes. It cannot get worse.
I just don't want it to be like okay.
And I don't know how, but
is this where we see the mutant human hybrid?
Ooh,
with
no.
the ape combination.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying. I don't want you to think the next one's going to be as bleak as Beneath was. So let's move on from here, and we'll be back soon for Escape from the Planet of the Apes. I guess between now and then, shoot us an email, find us on Twitter, Facebook, all that. Just on email, we're at realcomicheroes@gmail.com, and everywhere else you can just search Real Comic Heroes. Let us know what you thought of Beneath. I'd love to hear from someone who really likes this movie, if someone out there exists.
Yeah, there's a good chance that person's in a loony bin.
Yeah, maybe we should do what How Did This Get Made does and go to the Amazon reviews and try and find a 5-star.
This movie was the best thing ever.
Maybe next time.
I loved how everything died.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up for next time.
Probably some emo kid that's really into it.
Yeah, as long as it's not like an ironic, like, oh, this one's so good. I don't know. But anyways, got anything else?
No, let's just end this on a bleak note, like the movie.
I mean, maybe we'll be back. Maybe we'll just throw our mic in the trash and not do any more. Whatever.
Credits.
This is Dr. Zira, her loving husband Cornelius, and little Milo. The most dangerous to man is little Milo. Why? The time is 1973. The place is right here on Earth. How did they get here? What is their reception?
Welcome, gentlemen, to the United
Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Their adventures are completely fresh, completely new, astonishingly different from what you experienced in Planet of the Apes and Beneath the Planet of the Apes. At first, feared and imprisoned.
We'll take the female first. Well, she seems to be pretty smart. All right, we'll go for the banana.
Well, why doesn't she take it? Because I loathe bananas. I don't believe it.
Zira, are you mad? Till we know who our friends are and who our enemies...
And how in the name of God are we to know that unless we communicate? We can speak, so I spoke.
President. The President convenes a special board of inquiry.
Have you a name?
Zira.
Does the other one talk? Only when she lets me.
Embraced by our civilization, the nation gives them a hero's welcome.
Address, please.
The zoo.
What is it?
Well, it's sort of like grape juice plus. How is that?
Very wet.
It's certainly the most incredible story this reporter has ever covered.
And you share the impact of every incredible moment.
Must have been the shock.
Shock my foot. I'm pregnant.
The President's chief advisor wants them murdered, or else the human race cannot survive. The escape. The birth of an infant who could threaten man's very existence.
You're the second human I've kissed.
You are the first.
The relentless chase. The stunning climax.
Zira, I want that baby. If you won't give it to me, I'll shoot.
Why was Washington thrown into a turmoil by this one baby?
Stop him!
Escape from the Planet of the Apes.